Hey, 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 how are you all? Happy Saturday. I hope you all are having a great Saturday. I hope you had a great week. We are here to talk about Married at First Sight and this foolishness that went on last week. It wasn't a lot of foolishness, but we'll get into it. Thank you for joining me here at Scared of Beautiful. My name is Plez. If you are new here, thank you for coming and supporting my channel. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you comment. We love comments and interaction. We are here to engage in fellowship with each other. If you are one of my faithful supporters, one of my beauties or beaux, thank you all so much for joining me here at Scared of Beautiful. My family of supporters are called my beauties and my beaux. So I'm happy that you all are joining me on this Saturday afternoon. I hope you are enjoying the day. It is a wonderful sunny day where I am, but it is hot as Hades. So if you all are going outside and partaking in any outside activities, please stay hydrated. I myself like to be in air conditioning, so it is to the car that is air conditioned and back into my house or somebody else's house that is air conditioned. All right, y'all, let's see what's going on. Nina Gordon says, hi, Plez. Hey, Nina. Blaze Brown, hey, how are you, sis? Cecilia Glover, hello, everyone. Star says, I just finished catching up on the show. Yes, so you can join in on the conversation. Mina Ruth, hey, Plez. Hey, girl, how are you today? Barbara Bailey, hey, girl. Sandy Richardson, hey, Sandy, says, hello, beauties and beaux. All right, y'all. So this episode was called The Keys to My Heart, to play on words. They are in day 3 to 4 of their marriages, and they are on their honeymoon in the Florida Keys, y'all. So if you have been watching these reviews, this is not like a play-by-play of every scene. For me, this show jumps around too much. So I like to group my thoughts based on the couples, and that's how we'll go down with it, right? I want to start off with some of the slower couples, right? The ones that for me just aren't doing it yet. And the first couple that is not doing it for me yet is Brett and Ryan. I don't know what it is with these two. I think it's their personality differences, but they're off to a very slow start. You know, watching them on camera is like watching paint dry. I feel like we can get rid of them, get rid of their segments. Hopefully it'll spice up a little once they get back home to Houston and have to move in together and really deal with each other. Right now, I feel like they both are giving very surface level interactions. Brett is trying to push the envelope, trying to pull Ryan out a little bit, but I don't think it's working so far. To be fair, his family did say that he's very introverted and that this would be her job. She would have to pull him out. But, you know, he's giving me a complacent white male who is used to having everything handed to him, who doesn't really have to work for much, including the affection or attention of his now wife. He's giving me very mediocre. And I find a lot who come from his particular background to be like that. They don't think they have to work. They don't think they have to do anything extra. They think anyone in their presence, particularly a woman, should be happy that they're in their presence. And I'm not feeling it at all. The good news is he knows he's a butthole. In one of the first conversations in one of their first date nights as a couple, he calls himself a cocky a-hole. So he knows that he doesn't bring much to the table other than he's a pretty decent, nice looking guy. He has a good career, so I'm sure he has a very nice financial portfolio. But other than that, his personality leaves much to be desired, y'all. The first scene we see them in, they're ready to hit the pool. Brett is saying that she needs him to put on some sunscreen. He makes this little dry joke saying that it's going to take more than him, a whole team of people, to correctly slather her with sunscreen. I don't know if that was a play on, I don't think she's a natural redhead. I don't know if that was a play on the red hair or that she's so pale that she really needs the sunscreen. I don't know, but she just shrugged it off and went on about her business. Next, we see them getting a couples massage. The couples massage seems to be going well. And this is where Brett decides she wants to have more personal, intense conversations. I don't know if that's the best place to have it, personally. I mean, you are on national television, but for me, I want my massage to be relaxing. I want to have fun. I don't really want to get deep into the weeds in my massage, but she has to bring up these conversations with him at some point. So they get to talking about kids. Do they want children? Ryan says he wants children right away now, and that he really wants to push their intimacy. He's a very touchy-feely guy. He's an affectionate guy, and he thinks that they need to progress their intimacy forward a bit. They have been kissing. They have been touching each other, but they have not done the do. So, this is 4 days into the marriage. I think that's a fair, timeline, because although they are married, I mean, it is a stranger. So especially with Brett being a person who had not had sex for the last 2 years, she's not willing to just jump into the bed with someone. Brett explains that it's been a while for her. She wants to take it slow, and she wants to make sure there's an emotional connection first. She wants to have feelings for him before she gives him, herself to him. And Ryan listens. However, he reasserts that he is very affectionate. He's very sexual, and he wants them to hurry it up a little bit. The next scene we see them in, they're talking about one of the scenes we saw this episode. The couples have their first interaction as a group of newly married at first sight couples. So Brett is asking Ryan about his opinions of the couples. One couple that they talk about, one person that they talk about is Gil. Ryan gives Gil his props, says that Gil is much more patient, much more compassionate than he could ever be, and that Gil is really a good-natured person. He can make it work with anyone. Ryan admits that he cannot. And we know from last episode, he was really complaining about whatever meltdown Brett had on the plane. It's really interesting to me because this show tends to exploit every possible thing that happens. So it's very interesting to me that they have not shown any footage of this alleged meltdown that Brett had. I don't know if they just didn't catch it or if it was just that bad and it involved other people, since Ryan alleges that this girl made a kid cry, that they just aren't sharing it with us. But we're hearing so much about it. I want to know what happened on the plane. Like, what happened? I know people who have anxiety and struggle with flying, but if it was an epic meltdown, this is television. We need to see the epic meltdown. It would help this couple and their storyline, because right now it's not giving at all. Ryan says that they talk about deal breakers. Ryan says his biggest deal breaker is the fact that he wants children. If a woman did not want children, he would have to leave the relationship. Not only does he want children, he has a specific number of children, 2.75, and he says that that's because he definitely wants a boy and a girl. So for instance, if he had 2 boys or 2 girls, he would need to try for a third. His preferential arrangement of children would be boy, boy, then a girl. And if he could get a set of twins in there, he'd like that as well. Brett says that she just wants family. Brett really reminded me of myself a lot in this scene because she said that earlier in her life, she just kind of wanted to be a mother. But as she got older, as she approached her 30s, she really started to think about why she wanted children, what was the driving factor behind that. And she came to the revelation that she just wants a family. She doesn't necessarily need a child if her husband didn't want a child. She just wants a cohesive family relationship, whatever that looks like for her and her husband. And now, since she knows that Ryan wants children, she's definitely on that train as well. Ryan is happy to hear that, of course. Next, Brett talks about the attraction that they have. She says that the more time she spends with Ryan, she's definitely more attracted to him. However, she reiterates that she needs this emotional connection, that they need to really work on having more intimate conversations, being more vulnerable with each other to develop an emotional connection in addition to the physical attraction that they already feel. Ryan somewhat agrees and says that he's up for creating an emotional connection with her and is excited to see where they will be 3 days from now. Just 3 days, y'all. A week into the marriage, he is ready. So he's kind of putting her on notice. Hurry up with your emotional part because it's almost been a week and I ain't got none. And as we know, Ryan got it in all over Houston, which is why I absolutely think this was an unfair match to begin with. You match someone who's a complete horn dog, who sticks and moves everywhere he goes, with a lady who has been celibate for 2 years. Make it make sense. It doesn't. Next, we see them trying to spend some quality time together. They get into this hammock and they were about to fall out of the hammock. And again, more of Ryan's douchebag behavior comes out. He is upset. He doesn't want to get into the hammock and have his shirt ruined by their drinks. However, he takes his time. He levels off the hammock and allows Brett to get in slowly. They have success. No drinks are spilled. They get to cozy up to each other and work more on their connection. That was good that they were able to work through that. They both agree that they don't want to just go through the motions. They really want to make purposeful steps to building a foundation for their relationship. That's pretty much it for them. Like I said, it's a slow start. Hey, Uncle Charles, how are you? Thank you so much for coming over here and supporting me. I am great. What do you all think about Ryan and Brett? Valerie says, I don't think they will make it. Me either. Valerie again says, nope. Naj sings, agreed, plez. Valerie says, he is a super jerk. Just haven't seen him real yet. Girl, Naj says he gives her sarcastic and underhanded looks. Yes. Star says he is very reserved and they have had couples like that before. I think it will take a while for them. Yeah, he is very reserved, but it's very interesting because he's allegedly this Lothario, right? Like he has all of these women. He's dated all over the place. Honestly, he gives me a little frat boy tease. So everything that he projects about himself, I just don't see it because most guys who have a lot of women or have bedded a lot of women have some type of swag, some type of redeeming qualities that make them irresistible. And I'm not seeing it with him yet. I'm not seeing it. Lala Chanel says Ryan is a little immature. Exactly. Valerie said that's what he said. True, he could be tooting his own horn and blowing things out of proportion. Blaze says it seems to be all about him. Yeah, he's just very self-serving. I don't see it for them, y'all. The next couple, Lord, I forgot. I'm sorry. Y'all, I'm just up here running my mouth. That's Brett and Ryan. If you all are new to the show, don't know what they look like. That is Brett and Ryan. The next couple that we didn't really see, let's see. Enlightened Hugh says, I wonder why is he there? He's not marriage material. Girl, you didn't hear? He's there because he had a best friend who died, and that reminded him how short life is. He also has other friends that have got married, that have children, and he feels like he's getting left behind. If that's not a good reason for marriage, I don't know what is. You know? That is that's his reasoning for being there. Alethea Jacob says he doesn't like her. I don't think he likes her either. His friends and he himself have already said that she's not his traditional physical type. And honestly, I think guys, even when they say they can get past a physical type, when you're getting married at first sight, a physical attraction is a really big thing. I think if she quote unquote put out more, he may develop some type of, attraction. He's going to try to take the Chris route of seeing once they have sex, if he's more attracted to her. She was really self-conscious when she got into the pool on the pool scene and said that she, made sure that she chose her favorite swimsuit so that hopefully he would like her body in a swimsuit. He didn't really comment on it. So honestly, yeah, I don't think that he's attracted to her. Naj Singh says, I've dated Orion before, a no-go, stuck on himself and what he can get for the moment. Absolutely. Candace Lane. Hey, Plez. Hey, Candace. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, y'all, let's get to Michaela and Zach. All right. Michaela and Zach, of course, y'all know we don't see much of them this episode because, unfortunately, Zach tests positive for COVID. One of his friends had COVID, and I just keep wondering, was this friend at the wedding? Because all of this stuff has happened in such a quick amount of time. Did they have to call all of the wedding participants and let them know that they were possibly exposed to COVID? And I'm not going to harp on this, y'all, because COVID is what we're dealing with right now. Excuse me. I shouldn't even be saying that we're the panini. But it goes to show you how quickly things can change, because I thought once these shows return to filming in person, particularly since when we look at the weddings, a lot of the people who attended the wedding didn't really have on masks. So I was assuming that a negative test was a requirement to get into, to be filmed or get into the wedding space. I would assume with what we're going through, that had to have been a requirement, but it just goes to show you that you can be negative and actually on one day and actually like develop symptoms later. That's why they're telling people like, hey, if you've been exposed, you really are supposed to quarantine for 10 to 14 days, because some people start showing symptoms at day 3 and some start showing symptoms at day 10. And if you're not really symptomatic, sometimes the tests don't pick it up. So that's just a little, whatever, my opinion on everything that's going on right now. However, for whatever reason, Zach's friend tested positive. They separate because Zach is now starting to not feel well. They separate, they sleep in separate beds. And the next day we see that Zach has in fact tested positive, and Michaela, so far, thank God, is negative. They have to figure out how they will now deal with the honeymoon with Zach being positive with the virus. Bree Denise says you can have a negative test and then turn positive days later. Absolutely. Cecilia Glover says it's the incubation period. Star says, and the rapid tests don't always catch the Delta version of the panini. This is all very true, you all. So just be careful. I know people don't want to lock up in house or live in bubbles, but just be careful and take care of your health. I have seen over the last few weeks several people that I knew, particularly from my hometown, that passed away. They all range in age from 30s to 40s to 50s. So you all, just be careful. If you would like to consider, getting your shot, do that. I did that in March and in April. And if you don't, just make sure you mask up and social distance, wash your hands, all of those preventative measures, because we want as many people as possible to make it out of this thing alive. We want to look back 5 years from now and be like, whew, now COVID is just like the common cold. But, anyway, off of that soapbox. Zach is trying to care about the health of his wife. He wants them to separate. He doesn't want to risk her catching it, since so far she is negative. And Michaela surprised me, but actually didn't surprise me. She surprised me because I thought she was a little more level-headed. She's very emotional. She basically throws a tantrum. She is not having it. She wants what she wants, and she wants to be with her husband. She does not want to do quote unquote single shit on her honeymoon. She wants them to have an actual honeymoon and be able to be together. And I can understand wanting those things, but it's a panini, ma'am. This is a life-threatening illness. You've only known this man for 3 days, 4 days. I'm not risking my life for somebody I've already only known 3 or 4 days. Bishop, hey brother, hey plez, and everybody, hit the like button. Yes, y'all, please hit the like button. Cecilia Glover says, excuse me, she already jumped his bones. She did. But it's like, you can jump somebody's bones and still not be willing to die for them. I just, the girl, I like a ride or die. I do sometimes. But it's for the greater good. And honestly, production was not going to allow that. They were not going to have that type of liability on their hands. And so they had to separate, especially once he was confirmed to be positive. Where I say I'm not surprised is that this is just another symptom of what her sisters already told us about. She is the baby girl. She's used to getting her way. She doesn't like to hear no. And even though this is a health conscious reason, she's not hearing it. She does not want to hear no. Next, we see Michaela tell Jose, of course, Michaela and Zach are not able to go to the group sitting with all of the other couples. Michaela tells Rachel and Jose that Zach has COVID and that Michaela will be going back to Houston. She wants to stay in the resort and just like social distance from Zach. Production didn't allow that. And Zach again is like, I don't want you to get sick. So Michaela is going to have to go back to Houston. Zach, instead of being worried about his health, because of Michaela's tantrum, Zach is now worried that Michaela will resent him for the rest of his life. Look, y'all, if they really want to stay married, marriage is forever. Marriage is a long time, and they are young. She's 30, he's 27. So God willing, they have at least 40, 50 more years together. They can do another honeymoon. They can do lots of things, but this young man should not be worried that his wife is going to resent him for the rest of his life because he contracted an illness that he had no control over. Like, that's just really sad. And I think she needed to kind of step outside of herself a little bit and look at things from his perspective and look at the bigger picture. They have a lot of time together to really develop. Yes, it's new. It was exciting. You just did it. But look, let him quarantine for 10 or 14 days. He can't even get on a plane right now. So let him quarantine. Let him get his health and strength back. And then you all can grow and build from there. The next kind of scene that they show us, Michaela is back in her bed in Houston. She talks about how much she misses Zach, and Zach is in his bed in Florida, and he misses her as well. Bree Denise says production should have never sent Michaela home as she was exposed to Zach. She should have quarantined separate from Zach. I agree. I absolutely agree. He should have never. Because just like we talked about with Zach and his friend, she could be positive, she could be negative now, but that incubation period. So you're absolutely right. Mina Ruth says Michaela is crazy. Like, if you don't sit down somewhere and quarantine yourself. Lovely True Red. Hey sis, welcome to the chat. Valerie Cabela says, I agree too. Yeah, y'all, she really should have been quarantining separate. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she didn't fly home. Maybe they drove her home. I don't know. But, Blaze Brown says, wow, I can't believe they aren't thinking of their health and others. Kaylu says, she seems like she will be high maintenance. Lala Chanel says Michaela is not being rational. She's really not. She's being very emotional. And from what we've seen of her personality so far, she is very emotional. So like I said, I'm surprised, but I'm not. It was just the passion, the aggression that was in her voice when they were standing in the room talking. I was already nervous. Like, why are y'all standing this close to each other? And Michaela is having a whole shouting match by herself with no mask on. Like, have we not learned anything? Whatever. Y'all, people irk me where this stuff is concerned. And I'm just going to let it go because I can't do anything about it. Jesus will have to deal with it, not me. Next, a really great couple. Those were the two solo ones that we didn't really see that much of. But one of the couples who I absolutely loved this episode was, of course, Bao and Johnny. Y'all, I said in the early on videos that the only two couples that I actually had, a good feeling about so far were Bao and Johnny and Michaela and Zach. And this episode for me really strengthened why I have a good feeling about them, why I hope that they make it work long term, because it seems like they're already trying to learn each other. They're trying to compromise. They're actively putting in the work and thinking of each other, trying to get off to a good start to make this work. So the first thing that we see, they wake up from one of their nights in bed together, and Johnny is back to teasing about her snoring. She snores. He jokes about it, that he heard some animals, sorting around at night, what he thought were animals, but it was actually her just snoring beside him. He jokes about it to the camera, but in the confessional, he does say that it bothers him. Also, we see that the body pillow is still there. She's not letting him get close. She has this barrier up. She doesn't want him getting too close and snuggling or cuddling in the bed. We know that's going to be a problem because Johnny's primary love language is physical touch. Next, they talk about going to the pool, meeting up with the other couples. She lets him know that she collects bathing suits. That's a very interesting thing to collect. I have collections of my own, mainly stickers and, of course, elephants for my sorority. But collecting bathing suits is an interesting thing. She says 90% of her bathing suits have not seen the light of day. She wears them at home as functional lingerie, which was a very interesting outlook. She thinks that this is a way to show off her body, but not really show it off, because lingerie is more revealing and it's lacy and it's, a little provocative. But a bathing suit, everyone has to wear a bathing suit to get in the pool. Johnny's like, so you have a pool at home? She's like, no. So she has no pool. She's not going to a pool, but she just walks around in her bathing suit. It's a very interesting thing. Star says, yeah, this snoring thing can't be a make or break. I need to hear it. LOL. This is what I worried about, y'all, with her snoring. So one of the biggest symptoms, I didn't worry about it, but one thing that came to my mind was one of the symptoms of sleep apnea is snoring. And despite what people believe, you can be as thin as Bao is and have sleep apnea. It really has to do with the way your nose and your respiratory system is structured, if her tonsils are too big for her throat and things like that. So she may want to go get a sleep study and get a sleep study done to see if she has sleep apnea, if her snoring is really that bad. The way he joked about it, I thought it was a cute little, like that. But the fact that she says later on that she's been dealing with this since like high school and how it has affected her life and her self-esteem, I think she may want to talk to like an ENT or somebody, her doctor, to see if there's something more there. Could not be, could just be a normal snore. I've seen dogs snore and everything else, but if it really bothers her, I think she needs to check it out instead of just kind of letting it be so traumatic for her. Star says she needs a CPAP machine. Absolutely. Bree, Johnny is a cutie. He is. Valerie says she is different, but I like her. And like Hugh says, I like Johnny. I like them both, y'all. I really, really do. Next, they talk about his body. Bao likes his body. That's some good stuff. It's always nice to know that your partner likes you, likes your body style. She likes that he is lean. She says that her celebrity crush, her hall pass, is Conan O'Brien. That's a very interesting celebrity crush for me. Like, if we're talking nighttime talk show host, it would not be Conan O'Brien. It would probably be Jimmy Kimmel for me. But that's because I like a thicker man. I like a guy that kind of has like a running back build. So Conan O'Brien, I don't really like skinny slim or lean, as she says. I don't like lean. I like a little beefy in my man. I like corn-fed men. I always tell people, I've said this before, if y'all have been following me a while, like, if we're talking about like childhood things on Beauty and the Beast, right? I liked Gaston. Even though he was a butthole, I liked Gaston. I thought Gaston was the bee's knees. I thought Gaston was fine as I don't know what. I also really like Foghorn Leghorn. If y'all know who Foghorn Leghorn is, he's the big chicken hawk that was on Looney Tunes. Anyway, neither here nor there. But Conan O'Brien was very interesting. Not only is her celebrity crush, that's also her hall pass. If she, ever met Conan O'Brien, the hall pass would be she got to smash or do whatever she wanted to do with Conan O'Brien, and Johnny would just have to deal with it. Johnny laughs and actually says he is more than fine with that and says that he would like to watch. Y'all, I like Johnny. They are weird. They are quirky. They are nerdy. as am I. He's by just revealing that little snivel of information, he lets us know that he is, a voyeur, honey. He likes to watch. And it was so cute because Bao was blush and flush. She didn't know what to do with that piece of information. And it just goes back to last episode when Johnny was asking her about sex and intimacy and what she likes. Bao kept it safe with kissing, and Johnny went to talking about butt play and all kind of other stuff. So I like Johnny. I like that he pushes the envelope with her a little bit. He brings her out of her shell. He makes her blush. And I just love their banter. That's what makes for a good relationship, when you don't really take yourself so seriously and you all can laugh and joke with each other. I really like it. Love my dogs too, says not foghorn leghorn. Yes, sis, foghorn leghorn. I say, boy. Just big old country. His head was not proportionate to his body, which bothered me. But I'm talking about like body-wise and how manly he was. I like it. I like it a lot. Blaze Brown says, I don't feel bad about being nerdy. No, don't. We're the best. We have the best imaginations, which make for the best partners. And I'll leave it at that. Bree Denise says, yes, I am Johnny. Johnny is me, but I don't want him. I will take him. Girl, Lala Chanel says, crushing on Conan O'Brien is a little different. It really is. I was like, Conan O'Brien? Okay. But he's smart, and Bao likes smart men, so I can see it. But body-wise, not for me. I'll take Kimmel all day. Next, they go to the group meetup, and they share with the group that they knew each other beforehand. We've already talked about that, how they knew each other, and they shared the ghosting incident. However, they have never been romantic. So now seeing each other in a new light, seeing each other, getting to know each other intimately has been a new, journey for them, and one that they have really enjoyed so far. Bao says, Johnny should have just told me, that one, he shouldn't have ghosted me, and he should have told me what was up. Johnny says, no, Bao should have told me that she liked me, and we probably would have not even needed this show. So again, just their banter, even in group situations, I really like how they play off of each other. The next thing we see with them, Johnny meets up with Jose. He has already told us that he likes Jose. They have a bromance going on. He really likes the fact that Jose is very transparent. He's very straightforward, and he knows what he wants and is not afraid to go for it. So he invites Jose to meet him at a shop where he wants to plan something for Bao, a nice date and dinner date for her. So they're trying to get some outfits together. He wants to pick something that says, I'm ready to move forward. I'm ready for more intimacy with you. He wants to be vulnerable with Bao, and he wants to tell her how he really feels about her. However, he fears that she won't feel the same way about him. I really, like I said, y'all, I like them. And this is one of the reasons why I like them. They are open and honest with each other. So far, they have been vulnerable. They have been willing to be a little, embarrassing with each other. And that's what's required in a long-term relationship. You have to let those walls down for your partner. So not only is he letting his walls down with his partner, he's letting his walls down with Jose. It's a big thing when a man can express to his friends, his homeboys, and, that, hey, I really like this girl. I really want to make it work with her. So I was really happy to see that side of Johnny. Next, we see Johnny come back to the hotel, and he gives her the gift. Hey, I want you to change into this for us to go on this surprise that I've planned for you. He ended up picking a linen shirt that was a 2XL. And I guess maybe he got the shirt since he was getting himself the blue linen shirt. However, when you first saw him and Jose walk into the shop, they were looking at dresses. So I don't know why he didn't pick her a nice dress, because clearly she likes dresses. We saw when she went to meet with his parents that she wore a gorgeous dress. So I think a dress would have been nice to go with his linen shirt. However, Bao accepts the gift, even though it's a 2XL. She wears it with some shorts, like a big old poncho, and it made for a cute outfit where they were coordinated. We see that they go on the date, and it is a beachside picnic. Y'all, that was really interesting to me, because getting off subject a little bit, not really, but a little bit. Mirla said there was no beach there. So when I see them on the beach, I'm confused. Like, how did they get to a beach if there's no beach there? But anyway, Johnny found a beach, and they were able to have their picnic together. He lets her know that he's really starting to develop feelings for her, real feelings for her. And thankfully, Bao returns the sentiment and says that she's developing feelings for him as well. And then they kiss. It was such a beautiful thing to watch, y'all. It was so cute. I love love. I love the beginning phases of love. And so it was really cute to see them actually on the same page. Bao says that if Johnny hadn't ghosted her, they could have avoided a lot of first dates and been there a long time ago. But they're not scared to have the hard conversations. Johnny says he's scared that he's going to find some things in Bao that he doesn't like. And Bao assures him that he will. She's not perfect. And he will find some things that he doesn't like. One example that she gives is that she tends to self-sabotage. She doesn't believe sometimes that things are what they are, that things are too good to be true, and she self-sabotages herself. He says that he's willing to do the work and move past anything that he may find in her that he doesn't like. So again, this was another example of how deep they go with each other, how vulnerable they're willing to go with each other. I like that Bao cut it right off and said, hey, yeah, you're going to find some things that you don't like. She didn't try to, do this whole romanticized thing of life together as a married couple. Yeah, you're going to find some things that you don't like in your partner. And that's any partner. No matter how long you've been together, no matter how much you are a perfect quote unquote match, you'll never just love everything about it. That's normal human nature, but you learn how to deal with those things. You learn that these little, things that may bother you or get on your nerves don't really outweigh the bigger picture, right? So I really liked that segment with them. Next, Johnny, they're going to bed. Johnny is ready to pursue more intimacy. He wants to cuddle. He wants to make out. He's tired of these kisses even though they've been kissing on the lips, he's ready for some tonsil hockey. He wants to get it in. And when they go to bed, Bao tries to put the pillow in between them. Johnny asks her to remove the body pillow. And she's like, well, I thought you needed this. And he's like, no, I'm hoping that you will take the place of that pillow. She obliges, removes the pillow, and sleeps next to him on his shoulder. Once they start to cuddle up, she thanks him for the surprise of the beach dinner. However, she has to have a talk with him. And again, she's very vulnerable and transparent and lets him know that she is very insecure about her snoring. Although she believes that he has been joking in the past and not trying to make fun of her, that is still her perception of it. She lets us know that she has been embarrassed by her snoring for her whole life. She was a camp counselor in her teenage years. And y'all, when she would go to this camp, she would not go to sleep. She would stay up for days on end And I'm like, girl, do you know what kind of effect that can have on your body, on your adrenal system and everything? But okay. Because she was always worried that other camp counselors and people would hear her snoring and make fun of her. So she's hurt from his jokes, and he says that now that she's told him this and the background of it, he will not do it again. She said that because he had been joking about it so much, she thought it would be better for her to sleep in a different bed. Now, Bao, I think you're going way too far. And this is what I mean, y'all, when I say these couples need individual counseling as well as couples counseling, because that's really something that she needs help with. She's a young woman, relatively, she's 35. So yeah, she has another 40, 50, 60, 70 years to live. That's a long time to live and be self-conscious about something that you can't control. Either go to the doctor and figure out if you need a CPAP or they have you don't have to get the whole machine anymore. They have ones that just look like the little oxygen plugs. They have the strips. They have all types of things now that you can use where you don't have to be that self-conscious about snoring. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's so superficial and trivial, but your traumas are your traumas, right? It's very real to her. So again, I was happy that she was able to express that to him, but you can't get married and sleep in a separate bed from your husband for the rest of your life. So whatever she has to do to minimize that insecurity is what she needs to do. That's not his responsibility. Right? Valerie Cabela says, joking, trying to tell her without hurting her feelings. Lovely Tourette says her snoring is a major issue for her. Bao should get a CPAP for sure. Love My Dogs Too says those CPAP machines are not as gaudy anymore. Absolutely. She can get a mask that is not, as imposing as some of the old masks used to be. Lala Chanel says, I'm glad that Bao is self-aware. I am too. That's a very important trait to have. Crystal Howard Girl says she may love Conan because of how funny he is. Yeah, Conan is funny and smart. And so I'm sure that's one of the reasons why she loved him. But she specifically said that was her body type crush. So that's also one of the things that she likes about him. Mina Ruth says, I hope they make it to the end, but I don't know. Hopefully they will stay together. I think they have great potential to stay together. So Star says her snoring must be very bad. The way she sells it, it has to be very bad. I just want her to get some help for it because that's a long life to live. She's 35. I'm assuming when she was a camp counselor, she had to be like 16, maybe 18. So she's been living since her teenage years with this thought. That's probably one thing that has held her back in previous serious relationships, wanting to sleep over with a man or not sleep over with him. Living, I don't think she's ever lived with someone. And a lot of those reasons can be tied in just to this snoring. Grandma Scary. Hey, Grandma Scary. Thank you so much for the support always. You are always so super supportive. Hi, players. I caught a live. Thank you. I'll be back here tomorrow at 3:15 with the grab bag if you want to come in on that. Valerie Cabela says she also can have surgery. Yes, that is another option. All right, y'all. Let's get to it. Another couple that had a lot going on is Rachel and Jose. This was a very interesting episode for them. We got to see a lot about their personalities. One thing I gotta say that bothers me about Jose right off the bat, one of the first scenes that I saw with them opening up, laying in bed and kissing each other. Why does Jose always wrap his hand around this girl's neck every time he kisses her? Like literally wraps it around her throat. Jose. And I actually like Jose, but some Some of his tendencies are very red flag-ish. Like, they start off good, but those tendencies have the propensity to spiral, y'all, to spiral into something way different. Grandma Scary, love you, girlfriend. Yes, I love you too, sis. Thank you for the super chat. I watched Married at First Australia. It's so different. I have not gotten into Australia yet. Everyone says it is a completely different animal. I watch so many shows, y'all. I don't think I can add anything else. This 504 girl, thank you for joining me today on this Saturday. Hey, players in chat. Hey, Enlighten Hugh says Jose has control issues. He does. Grandma Scary says Jose could be into choking. He could. That's not something that you should show every time we go to kids. Like, there's a there are times when you can put your hand around my throat, and there are times when you cannot. And every time we kiss would be one of those times. Like, that's a lot. A lot. And like I said, for me, it just adds one other thing that really bothers me about him. Bree Denise says, OMG, I picked up on that too, players. I was giving him the side eye. Girl. It just made me uneasy. It was like, I keep telling y'all, it's that Lord Farquaad. It's that short man syndrome. He has to dominate at every turn. And I am not here for it. I am not here for it. All right, y'all. So that was one thing that really stood out to me about him. Rachel wants to talk about their differences. She's like, it's great that we have this connection and this chemistry. We seem so similar, but let's get into some of our differences. And Jose starts talking about coffee. The fact that Rachel likes her coffee black and Jose has to have some milk or cream in his coffee. Sir, that is not a difference, not a substantial difference that she would want to talk about. She was saying she wants to get to know you more beyond the surface level of I like this and he likes that. She wants to start delving into some of those harder conversations. Gwen Branston, hi, players. First time catching your live. I'm surprised. Well, welcome, Gwen, to your first live. Thank you for subscribing and supporting me. I really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy your time here at Scared of Beautiful. Make sure you comment. We are very welcoming here in the chat. We just like to talk about right now. We're talking about this Married at First Sight, and we are on Rachel and Jose. So, he talks about coffee. Rachel wants to get more substantive and talk about a real difference that has been bothering her. So she explains that one difference that has been bothering her and concerning her is Jose asking her last episode to brush her teeth and that he likes to feed her food. Now, I thought production was a little petty because they showed the wedding cake at the wedding. I thought that was kind of a tradition that brides and grooms do. So that wouldn't concern me. But they also showed other clips where he's trying to feed her like chocolate strawberries and different things at different times. It really bothers her. She says she's an independent woman and she wants to maintain some of her independence. She's not a child, so she does not need him to feed her or brush her teeth. I'm with Rachel. Do not try to brush my teeth. Please. Like, that's just icky to me. I don't want your hand in my mouth moving a toothbrush around. It's just not going to happen. I don't like it. I don't want it. He tells her that his dream has just always been to be a provider. And to him, this is part of provision. He wants to be able to provide for her. And that's really what it all boils down to. Rachel explains that everyone in her life, women in her life, but even her dad, have always told her that she needs to make sure that she has her own before she's married. Don't rely on someone else to provide for you, because they could walk out at any time and then you are left there by yourself having to pick up the pieces. So she wants to maintain her career, be a career woman, and maintain some form of her independence. She says that she's going to let him provide. However, she wants to contribute to the marriage as well. She doesn't want to feel like he's just maintaining her and she's living off of him. Valerie Cabela says, oh, brother, if he wants to pay all the bills, let him. This 504 girl says, I like Rachel, but Jose, it's a no. Love my dogs too says, words of wisdom, in my opinion. Absolutely. Blaze Brown says, brush a grown and capable person's teeth is over the top. And Lala says, Jose is coming on a little strong. He's coming on a lot strong, like a lot. But I will say, him wanting to be a provider, especially in this day and age, is a wonderful thing. However, I'm also Team Rachel. For me, I identify with Rachel a lot. You know, like Rachel, difference between Rachel, she got that lesson from her dad, which I think is a powerful lesson, particularly coming from a man. I got that lesson from my mom and my aunts. You know, the talk was, Prince Charming doesn't come around in these neighborhoods all the time. So you have to be able to go to school, have your career, and be able to take care of yourself just in case, you know, you don't get married or the marriage doesn't work out. So as a quote unquote independent woman, I will say it's very hard once you've been taking care of yourself and providing yourself to turn those reins over to somebody else and to let them handle everything, especially when you have the mindset that divorce could happen or he could get hurt or sick. Mad day could come, anything could happen. And when you allow someone to have, not all men, be clear, not all men, but some men do use finances as a method of control. And when you've given over your autonomy and everything to the other person, you know, you become a dependent. And some people feel like that's a wonderful thing, but I can honestly say for me, that's not my fairy tale. I'm not necessarily going to be fighting the way Rachel is to pay anything 50-50. But we will need to sit down and say, okay, well, if you're paying all of the bills, then my income will be spent on, you know, when we have children, I'll make sure that they have their clothes and blah, 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 blah. Or, you know, the family investments, how we get more rental properties or how we plan these family vacations. Like, I will be an active participant and provider as well in my family. Like, that's why you work. That's my opinion. That's my 2 cents on that. But you know, Valerie Cabela says the women thing in this generation is over the top ridiculous. Let him spend his dollars. Put your money in a savings account. That's one way to do it. The Bishop says, I ain't brushing my wife's teeth. That's a no for me. Yeah, not no. Love my dogs too says, my mom taught my brother how to cook and other things. Star says he wants a daughter, not a wife. Blaze Brown says, I too received such lesson from my family, especially my dad, grandpa, and brother. Love my dogs too says we should be able to juggle all aspects of life with or without a mate. I absolutely agree with all of you all. One thing that I liked about them, the next segment that we see with them is the group segment. They are very affectionate in front of the group. This is the couple that does not have an issue with affection, with public displays of affection. They don't care who's there. They are going to show their love for each other and put on a show. Not just show it, but put on a show. They go fishing for an excursion, and we see this battle again with Rachel and her strong need for independence, but also letting Jose lead and take the lead. And I think that's the dance that they will have to do. It's a hard lesson to learn. It's only day 4 in their marriage, so it's super new for her. But it is something that she's going to have to learn to deal with. I know since I didn't grow up with my father in the home, that dance of letting a man lead, it's something that you have to learn. If you haven't watched it growing up, it definitely does not come natural, especially at this point in her life. She's a fully grown woman. She's been living on her own. She's been paying all of her bills. So letting a man lead is a new prospect for her. I will admit, I'm a person who struggles with that, but I do think that it's necessary if you want that type of traditional, the man is the head of the household type of relationship. Rachel says that Jose is extremely attentive and wants to take care of her, and she wants to take care of herself. So that's why they're having this clash. However, with the fishing excursion, she's never fished before, so she's willing to allow him to take the lead, and she's willing to learn from him. And it literally did almost kind of look like father and daughter thing when he went to grab the fish out of the water and show her how it's done. And then she did it herself and was super excited that she did it herself. And then he showed her how to, put the bait on the hook and cast the reel out into the water. And they actually caught a fish. She was super excited. So for me, that was a very good scene and a very good bonding experience for them. And I think it helped Rachel learn how to let down some of those walls and allow Jose to lead, even if it's just something like this. You've never done this before. And that's the whole point of to me, in my opinion, one of the big parts of being in a marriage or having a long-term relationship is finding someone who can teach you things, who can show you things that you've never done before. I actually like that aspect of it. So I think this task can help them really work on those things. Rachel thinks that their strong connection, when Rachel talks to Michaela, when her and Jose talk to Michaela about why her and Zach have been missing, Rachel agrees with Michaela, would not want to be separated from Jose. And she actually says that she thinks their strong connection would get lost if they had to quarantine away from each other for 10 to 14 days. Ma'am, if that's what you think, it's not really a strong connection. Because again, if the goal is to get married and stay married, y'all have years. 10 to 14 days is nothing. Especially when the potential outcome could be, if you stay together and both of you all get sick, one of you all might not make it. Like, that's a harsh reality. And to say that you don't think your relationship would withstand a 10 to 14 day quarantine, I don't like that. I didn't like that when she said that. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit, because that means that your connection is just superficial, honestly. The next date that we see them, they're overlooking the water. They do a toast to the chemistry that they have and the matchmakers for putting them together. The next big conversation that they have is about them living together. Rachel says that she has lived with people before. It has never gone well. And Jose lets her know, once this whole thing is over after decision day, I want you to stay with me and live with me in my house. Rachel addresses her concerns over Jose having his own home and her moving in versus their house, versus them going out and finding a home together. Now, I know why she's saying this, but financially, we have to be real. He owns 2 homes. So it would not be the best financial decision for them to go out and create a new mortgage together. However, if she's worried about him her moving into his house, there are things that he can do to make her feel better. He can redo the deed. He can add her to it. He can, make it sure legally where she has 50% ownership, and she's now a true part owner in his home, because in a lot of states, if you did divorce and there's this community property clause, properties purchased before your marriage are not considered community property. So I understand her feeling uncomfortable with that, but financially, it is a better decision. And so I think if Jose really wants her to feel like, as he said, what's his is hers, then he has to put his pen where his mouth is and sign that paperwork and truly make her a part owner if they get to that point. She doesn't want it to look like he's just maintaining her. He assures her that what's his is hers. He wants to provide. He wants to get an even bigger home, get a pool, and things like that. She is worried about pulling her own weight, and she's worried about getting a home that she can afford. So far, Rachel really has not made the mental leap of, I'm a married woman now. Because, y'all, one of the first things that I'm looking forward to is somebody else's income. So I can afford more because I have two incomes versus just on my income, right? So she's still very much a me, what I can do versus what we can do. Love my dogs says, exactly, plez, adding her to the deed would help. Valerie Cabela calls her a negative Nelly. Crystal Howard Girl says, sorry, but being born as a man does not make a natural leader. Sad but true. You said a whole word on that. Whole word. Star says 2 separate accounts plus 2 shared for bills and savings. It works for me. Alethea Jacob says, I think Rachel and Jose would make great friends, companions for each other. Not sure beyond that. CM says, my dad was in the house and letting someone do is hard still. Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing that with me. Lala Chanel says, as an independent woman who is recently engaged, I'm still learning to find that balance of independence as well as give and let give. Valerie Cabela says, Crystal, I don't think most guys haven't figured that out yet. Yes, that it doesn't make them a natural born leader. All right. Next, the next scene we see them in, Jose gets them some dessert and lets Rachel know that he does like to be fed. So she takes a turn feeding him. He's trying to bring her out of her comfort zone. I thought that was a cute way to do it. He wants her to be comfortable with letting her feed him. They then talk about getting a dog. They want a dog before kids, so they're on the same page with that. And Rachel really likes that he wants to have serious conversations. They make a good team. I mean, so far they've talked about kids. They've talked about living together. They've talked about a dog. They've talked about finances. So they really are doing the hard work early, or at least starting the hard work. They're not afraid of having thought-provoking conversations with each other to see where they stand on these big topics. And they're important because these are things that lead to divorce. Infidelity, kids, raising kids, and finances are some of the top things that lead to a divorce. So I'm glad that they're having these conversations now and can continue to explore the conversations. The last scene that we see, Rachel confides in Jose about her struggles with finances. She saw him checking his stock portfolio earlier in the day. And she's like, I don't do that. I have a savings account. It isn't even an interest-bearing savings account. It's just what I have. And so she knows she needs help in that category, but she doesn't want to give him complete control. She wants a joint account and separate accounts, whereas Jose wants all joint accounts, and then she can have, get some of whatever is left over. Rachel doesn't like that and feels that would be like him giving her an allowance. I have to admit, I'm kind of team Rachel on that one. I personally think each person should have a separate account, and I think there should be a joint account, both a joint checking and a joint savings. Joint checking for household expenses, joint savings for things that they want to save together with as a couple. Even if you do your budget and do the numbers and then decide to make the deposits where they go, but Every person has their own habits, y'all, have their own things that they like to waste and spend money on. Before the panini that we're in, I like to go play a couple of hands of blackjack. I like a nice shoe sale. I'm not going to let anybody come in and tell me I can't go get a pair of shoes or I can't go, play a hand of blackjack whenever I decide to venture back into those spaces. Every individual has their own habits, their own idiosyncrasies, and just things that they like to blow money on, right? I'm sure Jose has some random collection of something that, some guys have Star Wars collections or just whatever you like to spend your money on. You should be able to do that as long as it's within your budget, right? I don't want to have to answer questions whenever Amazon shows up at the house because that wasn't part of our joint money. I have my money over here that I can spend every month on whatever I want to spend it on. You have your money over there that you get to spend on whatever you want to spend it on. For me, that is how ideally I would want my finances to work. I'm not a fan of everything goes in one pot. I'm just not, never will be. So I liked Rachel on that part. Like he can provide all he wants to from the joint account, and they can save and decide how much they're going to invest. That's why the budget is more important than the actual accounts and the number of accounts there are. Bright says, so now how in heaven's name can she afford a new home if she doesn't save? Well, she said she saves. She just probably isn't maximizing her savings and she's not investing yet. I know lots of people like that. And most people will tell you, if you don't have your saving, most financial advisors will tell you, just saving isn't enough. It needs to be in a high interest savings account. And then also she needs to have some other streams of income. So investing is a good way to do that. So he can help her out in those ways. Love My Dogs Too says, I know my limits, have my habits, and need no one to tell me when, how to spend. It won't work for me. Sandra Robinson said, yes, a shoe sale. Valerie says, what does Jose do? I can't remember exactly. I don't know if he just works in business or construction. I can't remember what he works in. But I just remember him having that budget on that dry erase board in like the living room where everybody can see it. I don't think that's a place for your budget. Mr. Callie says he works for NASA. Okay, so he's like an engineer or something. Good. That means they both probably do well for themselves. They just have to figure out the specifics. So I really like them. I like the thought of them, I should say. I can see potential there, but Jose, just his natural personality can lend itself to be a controlling and possessive person. And that's just based on his mannerisms, how he talks. Like I said, that throat thing when they kiss really bothers me. The trying to brush her teeth, even suggesting, can I brush your teeth? Was not a good look for me. And he means well. My concern will be, as he talks about his checklists and what he needs and what he requires, what happens when she's not that person? Does he just throw her away? What are they going to do? Right? So we'll see. And like I said before, what really bothers me is not even so much him, but it's that they paired him with her, someone who is an admitted people pleaser and who often struggles with losing herself in a relationship. You know, I hope she's learned a lot from her past relationship that she just got out of 6 months ago. I really don't want to see her repeat those same patterns. I also don't want to see her put up so many walls that she drives him away. Like, they both have a lot of work to do in the vein of compromise. So Yvette says he comes across somewhat controlling, weird, wanting to brush her teeth. Blaze Brown says, no allowance for me. I like the idea of house account, emergency fund, joint and individual accounts, and both add to a joint investment in individual investments. Good plan. Les Chanel says, I agree with you 100%. My hubby loves cars and I love clothes, and we allow each other to indulge. That's how it has to be. That's how it has to be. Valerie Cabela says, nah, not macho, Napoleon syndrome. Oh, short man's issues. I think it's a mix. I definitely think it's a mix. Crystal Howard asks, what nationality is Jose? I don't know. I know Gil is Colombian. I don't know if Jose is Mexican or I don't know. I don't know. His dad, I don't want to just go off looks, but to me, his dad looked Mexican. I don't know. I don't know exactly what he is. Oh, Love My Dogs Too says he is Spanish/Portuguese. So there you have it. All right, y'all. The last couple, the one that we always, the one that we love to talk about, none other than Mirla and Gil. So Mirla and Gil, this was an interesting episode for them. This was a very petty observation, y'all, but she is wearing me thin with those plaid pajamas. Now, for Miss High Class to be wearing the same pajamas for the 4th night in a row, I'm underimpressed. I want better. Like, you're this, you're that, you require this, you require that. I require you to change pajamas every 2 nights at least. You're not wearing anything better for the man. I'm hoping you have multiple pairs of it because this is just ridiculous. Valerie says, I can't stand her. Fake, fake, fake. Mina Rue says, divorce, divorce, and divorce. DGL6227. Hey, Plez. Hey, girl. How are you today? Love My Dogs Too says she's a bit too much for me right now. She's exactly too much. D says, I was surprised she even agreed to take the plane ride with Gil. That was the first nice thing she did for Gil. I guess she tried, girl. This 504 girl says she's fake bougie. Sharon Redmond says, why change PJs if you don't bathe? OMG. I didn't think she was the one that had the bathing issue. I thought that was Bao. But yes, they don't show the couples bathing, but they can't really show them bathing. But something like the same pajamas and it's your honeymoon. Auntie Eva says, oh, I'm late. Sorry, players. No need to apologize. Thank you for joining us. Catch the replay if you missed it. Y'all know we gonna be here. Bright says she don't wear makeup while she needs it. Crystal Howard's girl says his nationality of being Hispanic male is mostly the reason why he's controlling of their relationship. It's their culture. Sandra Robinson, hi, Helene, welcome. All right, y'all. So, yeah, those pajamas are on my last nerve. And the first scene we see, she is back to her normal. She's complaining. This time she's complaining about the breakfast. She didn't like that there was no protein in the breakfast. Now, I will agree with her on that. There should have been some protein, a piece of bacon or sausage or something in the breakfast. I love croissants, so I didn't mind how big that croissant was. But more importantly, she's mad about the milk. She has to have almond milk. She was not happy and asked Gil to taste the milk. Now, I was confused because an allergy and a preference are two different things. It perturbed me a little bit that she asked Gil to taste the milk. I'm like, why couldn't you taste the milk? Like, you can't really be that bougie where you can't and taste your own milk. So I'm hoping she requires almond milk or some other alternative to dairy milk because she's lactose intolerant or something like that. I don't know. But it just, coupled with everything else that we've seen from her, it's a lot. Next, she goes back to complaining about the accommodations at the hotel. Gil tries to keep his smile, his, happy-go-lucky personality, and he just tells her that she needs to learn how to enjoy it for what it is. This is your honeymoon. You're with your husband. We're trying to get to know each other. Just enjoy it for what it is. Gil tells a confessional that he likes her strong personality. It says that it shows that she's not fake and that she's someone who can be trusted because she's going to give her honest opinion every time. He wants to get to know her better, though, and Mirla says, wouldn't it be so much better if you could get to know me on a beach? And he's like, no, getting to know you is getting to know you. It doesn't matter where we are. I like Gil, y'all. Some of these groups that I'm in about the show are like, oh, y'all women just like Gil because he's handsome. No, I like Gil's personality. And he's handsome. However, his personality wins me over. His personality in dealing with a completely spoiled brat makes him even better in my eyes because it's one thing to not like something. It's the vocalization of it for me. It's the owning that I am a complainer and a tantrum thrower for me at 30 plus years old. Like, in my opinion, that's just not an attractive personality trait. And that is, I'm not, I don't like women, but even as a friend, who wants to go somewhere and be with someone where you're supposed to be letting down your hair and having fun, where they're complaining about everything? Girl, eat the breakfast. Eat what you gonna eat. Don't eat the rest. Drink water. Don't drink coffee. Drink orange juice. Get something else. But it's a lot. It's a lot. Bree Denise says Gil is passive aggressive. He said that to Mirla, but dragged her when he was with the other couples. Well, I probably would have too, girl. D says Mirla not liking Gil's dog will be the last straw, I believe. Love my dogs too, says Gil's disposition in dealing with fake high maintenance Mirla is amazing. Alethea Jacob says Mirla is a lot. I guess they paired her with Gil because he is easygoing. She is still a lot. Yes, I just think it's so unfair. They could have paired her with Ryan, maybe. It's just, Lala Chanel says Mirla is too much, like, girl, calm down. Sandra Robinson says this is the type of couple that make people wonder if they're really a couple or actors. Blaze Brown says, I must go. Everyone have an awesome weekend. Be safe. Bye, sis. Thank you for joining us. Crystal Howard, have a great weekend. Crystal Howard says, to be honest and blunt, I want Gil to be with a good chocolate woman. I'm being truthful. I can see that too. So, next, like I said, Mirla admits to being a proud whiner. Like, who admits at 30 plus years old, at your big old grown age, to be proud to be a whiner? Like, nothing in your head tells you that a mature woman should not do that. And you don't even have the tact to know how to reel it in. I love a transparent person, but there's a big thing to be said about tact and decorum for me. I think a lot of things. When I walk past people, when I'm watching something on TV, when I get to hotel accommodations, I don't really say them out loud. Cause it's not helpful. You are where you are, and I take the attitude that Gil has. Like, just make the best of it. Enjoy it for what it is. Anyway, she said he's making it seem like she's a Debbie Downer. You are. Yes. You are. And he says, well, at least you're not a Karen. And she takes offense to that. But honestly, y'all, I don't know. I could see Mirla being a Karen as well. I could see her asking for the manager everywhere she goes. I'm sorry. I think she might be a brown Karen. I could see it. It's not a big stretch. It's not a big stretch. I beat the shit says being a complainer is a turnoff. Love my dogs too. She says she comes from squalor, but that's no excuse to be such a bee. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Valerie says, Karen for sure. Look, I can see it, y'all, but hopefully she won't be, but I can see it. Mirla, when they go out for the group meetup at the pool, Mirla does not come to the group meetup. Says that she has to stay in the room and do work. I don't know if I believe that. I think Mirla has already shown, even with the bachelorette's party, that she didn't really care for the other ladies and didn't want to be involved with them. She already said that the pool was at her house was bigger than the pool at the resort. So I don't really know if she was in the room doing work, but we'll let her have that. Gil is talking to the other couples, and he says that he's asking them, where they are in their intimacy level and what all has happened. All of the other couples, Michaela and Zach, of course, are missing because of his diagnosis. But all the other couples have at least kissed on the lips. Some have progressed to, more touchy-feely stuff and making out. And Gil is still over there just getting a kiss on the cheek. Gil explains that Mary is very particular. He says that she throws tantrums, and when she does, he treats her like a kid. He treats her like a toddler. It'll be over in a little while if you just ignore it, and that is how he has been handling it. Some people think he should have protected her more and not said those things, but I don't know. If you're giving your honest opinion and situation of what's going on with you and your spouse, the girl said she was proud to be a complainer. She knows she throws tantrums. So I didn't see anything really that bad about what he said. He probably could have left out the I treat her like a toddler situation, but he didn't lie any other way. When they're playing in the pool with his volleyball, he has drawn big old eyelashes and lips and a smiley face on the volleyball. He says that is Mirla's stunt double. Since she couldn't be out there with him, he wanted to make sure that she was present. The next scene we see them in, y'all. Hold on, let me see. Barbara Bella says this is not a match. She thinks she's better than others, not feeling her. Bright says, not cute. She's the kind. If she's pretty, her behavior makes her ugly. Savvy Mama says he was very specific. He was. He didn't hide it at all. The next scene we see them in, they're going to a dinner date. Y'all, that man can wear a suit. That paisley print and that whole thing that he had going on for their dinner date, he looks gorgeous. I'll give him that one. He tells her that she wants to know what happened on the group. If you weren't there, why do you want to know what's going on? But okay. So he tells her that everyone else has kissed but them, and she doesn't let that faze her. She lets him know that he is a stranger to her. She has never kissed anyone before the fourth date. Not on date 1, 2, or 3. I would actually argue if they're on day 4 in the marriages, they're at date 4. this isn't a traditional dating scenario where you see somebody on a date on week 1 and then day 2, date 2 is 2 weeks later or something. You got married at first sight. He's your husband. However, if she doesn't feel comfortable, she doesn't feel comfortable. So no one should rush her to do that. I just find it interesting that she chose to come on this show to marry a stranger, but she's not even willing to kiss him. It's just weird to me. And it's coming off to Gil that she doesn't like him. She's not attracted to him. She said, he asked about her past relationships. She said she's been in 4 serious relationships in the past. She claims she's very touchy-feely when she's actually in a relationship, but it takes time for her to come out of her shell, to develop that level of trust. So she's not there with him yet. She wants to build a foundation with him of friendship and trust. She's coming off to me a lot like Ryan from last season. And we know how him and Clara turned out. So hopefully she'll work on the foundation of trust and friendship. Gil asks her what her love language is besides quality time. And so she says gifts. And so he's like, okay, well, what type of gifts? Like if I got you a Cartier bracelet and she lights up, she's like, oh yeah. Versus a gift that I handmade, a gift that I put my time into, like a quilt. She's like, do I look like a quilt girl? And y'all, I don't know what else there is to be said about Mirla. She's trying to be a tease. If he's a stranger, then request different dwelling for the honeymoon. Yes, she could be sleeping in the separate bedroom because they all have 2 bedrooms. Crystal Howard Girl says, I'm just tired of social media pushing this black man being with every other nationality of woman other than his own nationality, which is black woman. I actually think Mirla would identify as an Afro-Latina, and Gil is Afro-Latino as well. So I think that's one thing about this season that they were trying to do. There really are no mixed couples this season. Brett and Ryan, both, to my knowledge, are Caucasian Americans. Michaela and Zach are Black Americans. Bao and Johnny are Vietnamese Americans. And Rachel and Jose are Hispanic Americans. I thought they were Mexican American, but I could be wrong. So I don't want to harp on that. But they're definitely more of the Anglo-Hispanic, whereas Mirla and Gil are more Afro-Hispanic, in my opinion. And I think that's how Mirla identifies and at least self-identifies at the very least. I don't think she considers herself to be a more Anglo-Hispanic person. She identifies as an Afro-Hispanic person. So they're both part of the diaspora. It's just that, yes, she is very fair-skinned and quote-unquote exotical looking. But yeah. Anyway, the thing with the gifts just turned me off even more. He probably made a bad example, a quilt. But if he hand wrote a card for you, if he found your favorite flower, not just roses. People love saying, if a man sends me roses, I'm going to be thankful. But gifts is not my primary love language. However, if he went and bought me a lotus flower or an orchid or a hibiscus plant, I would be over the moon because those are my favorite flowers versus just roses because women like flowers and women like roses. So I think she really underestimates someone actually learning her and giving her her true preferences. Cartier bracelets are beautiful, but it was just, again, another part of her personality that came off so obviously superficial and fake. It's just, Savvy Mama says thoughtful gifts. Yes, thoughtful gifts. Sharon Redmond says, you saying Mirla is not Anglo? I'm going to need to see the family album. I'm saying I don't think she identifies as Anglo. Could be, but I didn't see it. DGF627 says, yes, she's full of it and is coming for his self-concept by withholding affection as a covert narcissist or golden child would do to make the other do more or suffer the consequences of a tantrum. You gave her the full DSM, girl. You read her down. Exactly what she is. Star says, oh, my fur baby is my child. Bright says she's very materialistic. She is. The next thing we see them in, he gets them some desserts. He gets them some macarons, and he bites into them, and it's just like, oh, these are like cookies. These are bougie cookies. They're actually just like you. Like, this is the perfect analogy of our relationship. These are bougie cookies where I'm just an old-fashioned person. I like a good chocolate chip. But he still eats them. And she's like, see, you like a little bougie. I liked their banter there. And she says that she likes their banter. I do like one good thing I'm going to say about Mirla. So far, she seems to take a good joke. She is not so self-absorbed that she gets all uptight whenever he, laughs at her bouginess. So I do like that about her, that they do seem to be developing some type of a rapport, even if it's just a surface level so far. She asked him about his relationships. He said he's also had 4 serious relationships. He classifies serious as anything over 6 months. His longest relationship was 1.5 years. That's a little red flag for Mirla. And she thinks that a 35-year-old man that looks the way he looks, that is gainfully employed, would have his choice of women. And so she's shocked that he's on a show like this. She thinks it's harder for women in her age range to find a husband than it is for men. I would agree with her on that, but everybody has their reasons for why they haven't settled down yet. Next, we see Gil surprising her on a trip, on an excursion for the trip. They go on a trip on a seaplane. She's not happy. Surprise, surprise. She is not happy. She claims that she gets motion sickness, but she says she will let it try. I just want Mirla to not be so uptight all the time. Toni Braxton said it best, girl. Just let it flow. Let go. Let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. But it's hard to watch. It is hard to watch that she is always so uptight. She claims she gets motion sickness, but she's going to try it for Gil. She's willing to try, put on her big girl panties and tries to make it work for Gil. However, I don't know how good the try is when you start complaining as soon as the plane takes off. So she's complaining as soon as the plane takes off. She says she doesn't like how it's taken off. She doesn't like the turns. Gil does appreciate, he says that he appreciates that she even tried for him. And when it was over, Mirla says that it was terrible and that she hopes he's taking notes of what she doesn't like. And I will say that he does take notes. He should take notes of what she doesn't like, but she in turn needs to be taking notes of the things that he doesn't like and what he does like. And it seems so far that he doesn't like the complaining. He does well with it. He is definitely more laid back than most people I think would be. But I think she needs to work on that. It's like she just seems to have no self-awareness. No, she has some self-awareness because she knows that this is what she does. But knowing what you do and like actively trying to make changes when someone tells you it bothers them is something completely different. So I hope that they both are taking notes on what the other likes. Lastly, we see them getting ready for bed again. Gil talks about her face routine taking forever. I have no qualms with the lady having a face routine. We all have one, even if it's just wash your face, exfoliate, slap on some good old Vaseline, Pond's cold cream, whatever you were raised to do. Of course, Mirla, being of the mindset that she is, she has half of Sephora in her face washing and in her face routine to get ready for bed. So she has lots of different steps. Gil laughs and jokes that it takes forever for her to get ready at night. She gets in the bed. He kind of wants to talk, maybe get a little close. She's like, no, I'm tired. And he's like, oh, so you, she's like, my eyes, how your eyes just get heavy. He's like, yeah, the weighted eyelashes. And so she's like, no, my eyelashes aren't weighted. I can't wait to go back and get my new set. I don't want to walk around here looking like SpongeBob. And he's like, what's that? It just shows you how much guys don't really know and don't really care about that. Mirla is Mirla. I'm never going to say what someone should do. You have to look how you want to look for you. For me, the eyelashes are a bit much. My general philosophy in any type of enhancement, whether that's a wig, whether that's weave, whether that's your eyelashes, I always like those things to look natural. Now, you're going to ask me, oh, girl, that's all your hair? And I'm going to tell you no, because I'm honest. But I want it to at least look like it could be all my hair. I don't want it to be obvious that it's a wig, or I don't wear wigs. Don't wear wigs either. But, I just want it to look like it could be mine. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with eyelashes. I admire the women. Shout out to y'all who can wear these really heavy, the big eyelash look, because the couple of times that I've had falsies for different events, I can literally see like the shadow of them. So I'm not a fan of false eyelashes. Thank God I have decent, pretty good eyelashes myself. So a good mascara will work for me. But if it's in your budget, if it's something that you require, that you want to enhance your look, go for it. I just laughed because Gil was completely lost. He didn't know what was going on. And honestly, if she would ever let him see her without those lashes, I can almost tell you that the man would tell her that he never wants those lashes on again. And so they get ready for bed. Gil is frustrated because he again goes to sleep with not even a kiss goodnight for the evening. After that whole day of getting closer to each other and getting to know each other better, he still gets no kiss, just a good night and a roll over and go to bed from his wife. I like Gil, but Mirla's personality is definitely a personality that I can easily see leading a man to ending up like this. Like, what do you want, girl? Like, what is enough? Is there ever enough? Will you ever be happy? In one of the conversations, Gil asks her, like, okay, let's say this place had a purely beachfront, everything that you were wanting in your honeymoon. Would you be happy? She's like, oh, I would still have something to say. Like, she admits that she's never happy. And that's a long life. That's a long life to be with somebody who never is happy, who's never content. She thinks Gil is too content. But I would rather somebody be too content than someone who's never satisfied. I don't see it, y'all. I don't know how this is gonna work. I am going to drop this link if y'all want to come in and give some of your 2 cents, 5 cents, 10 cents, $1 on this episode. Just Jay says I end up pulling them off. Girl, it's like, oh, but I have only done the strip eyelashes, so I don't know how those other ones work. Love My Dog says those eyelash extensions were too unnatural, looked fake. This 504 girl says the shadow. Girl, yes. I don't see how people wear them. Hats off to you ladies who wear them. Look how she's standing there. Lightning Hugh says they were wrong for matching them. Mina Ruth says yes, or having him cheat on her. Y'all, let's hope that they make it. Let's hope that they make it. Bree Denise says Mirla should have never married. Lala Chanel says Mirla has to learn to humble herself and compromise. Enlightened Hugh says she is making Gil miserable. I just don't understand why she accepted to come on this show. You know, one part of why I feel like she's so standoffish, even with the other couples, is because, of course, she's very career-minded, and I think she's very conscious of that. You know, she's not going to allow herself to look any kind of way on television. But then why get into reality TV anyway? Why marry a man at first sight and you're not even ready to kiss him? You're not so far willing to open up. She's opened up a little bit. She's been vulnerable a little bit, sharing what has happened with her father. But everything that she shares is after him. You know, it's like you go first. Let me see what you're going to say or how much you're willing to share. And then I might be willing to share something too. And I just think it's unfair. It's unfair to the watchers. It's unfair to the other couples who are actually showing and giving of themselves. It's going to be interesting to see how she navigates this season, and when she does, if she ever shows up to any group events, how she interacts with the other ladies and the other couples. Sequoia Taylor says, I'm Mirla. Mirla is me, and I would never marry someone who didn't have money, and especially at first sight on TV. Look, for all of the Mirlas out there, there's nothing per se wrong with being a Mirla. I just think it's very interesting that a Mirla chose to go on a television show to find a man. If you got that much bank, you should have gotten you a personal matchmaker and gone from there. That way you can set your standards of he has to be in this income or tax bracket. He has to be ambitious or, whatever, progressive minded. Money has to drive him. That's not this show, right? If you care that much about it, you're going to find a matchmaker. You're going to get your own man. You're going to get your own dream honeymoon. You're going to make sure, that's the other thing that I missed when they were talking about the gifts and stuff. She's like, she complained about the ring. For example, this ring is going to have to be upgraded. And I agree. That would be something I would require after this show. But again, you're going on a show that has a set budget, and you get a salary. You get free housing and other fringe benefits for the 6 months or however long that you film the show. So it's not like you're not getting anything from the show. But no, it probably won't be up to your standards. And I guess because I grew up like that, it doesn't bother me. My mother spent $60 on tennis shoes. She was not spending more than $60 on tennis shoes. So if you wanted tennis shoes that cost more than $60, you had to put in with it. I have been working since I was 12 because I like nice things. And I was going to make sure I had those nice things. The senior pictures, The best senior, picture photographer in my little hometown cost, I don't know, $400 for his package or whatever. I paid for that out of my little retail job check. My mama wasn't paying that much for senior pictures. To her, the people that came on campus and put you in a little cap and gown and a little fake background was enough. You didn't need to be in the park or on set with wardrobe changes and all of that. You didn't need all of that. So if that's what there's no shame in wanting a certain lifestyle and wanting what you want, but beggars can't be choosers. And you're basically on a television show begging for a man. So it is what it is. Enlightened Hugh says, exactly, matchmaker. Sequoia Taylor says, agreed. I did hire a matchmaker pre-Panini. The one I found was awful. Matched me with someone I knew already, but I fully intend to try again post-Panini. Y'all, one thing, I don't know what's holding you up with dating with the Panini. It's holding me up too. Let me not. The Panini scares me, so I'm good. But they have COVID. They have home tests now that test for the Panini. So that could be something that if it interests you and you're worried about people coming into your home or you going into their home, like have the conversations like, hey, I would like to visit with you. I would like to get to know you better, but I'm not going out to restaurants or I'm not going to movie theaters or whatever. If you would like to come over, blah, 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 but I require you take the COVID test, And if you have a flexible spending account, you can buy it on your FSA or your HSA, and they're available at Walgreens, CVS, Walmart, everywhere. I'm just letting y'all know. Plez, you are so sweet in cleaning these two up. Yeah, I really do believe all people are good people at the end of the day, but she gets on my last nerve. But it is cool to want what you want. I don't think that she should be vilified because of her quote-unquote standards. It's just that how it comes across on TV, it sucks. Like, her personality is the pits. Alethea Jacob says, I think Ryan would have been a great match for Mirla. He is disengaged and not present to hear all her whining and complaining. I agree with all you said, players, as well. Yes, y'all, I really do think that that's who they should have matched her with. Star says she did try but complained the entire time. D says, I didn't know they had home tests. I may have to try to get one. Yes, girl. It's like $20 and they come two to a box. So, and if you look at these, like if you ever watch on the news and you see them doing these testing sites, whatever, it's literally the same test that people use on these on-site testing locations, the rapid test. So no, it's not the whole PCR thing, but it is a rapid test and it has really good rates for being accurate in their testing examples. So, so far I've only used it at home for me, but I can see it working for a company as well. Sandra Robinson says, dear players, after Chris, you couldn't still feel that way. Look, Chris was a whole nother beast. But I think it's still early. So I'm holding out some hope for them. Even if they don't work out, I hope that Mirla will watch some of these episodes and watch at least how she comes across and try to work on herself. Because so far, it's not what's up. All right, y'all, I'm going to go through a couple more comments. Drop the link one more time, and then we're going to get out of here so we can go enjoy the rest of our day. D says, I wonder if MAFS tested everyone for the Panini since Zach got it. That's what I'm wondering. I mean, I thought when people restarted production that was a requirement. Maybe because they're in Houston versus Atlanta, and Texas's rules were a little more lax. I don't know, but if I were on that production team, just from a liability standpoint, I would make sure everyone had a test before they were allowed into the weddings, a negative test. However, we talked about it earlier on. We were talking about Michaela and Zach. It also could have been an issue with the incubation period, because sometimes you'll test negative and actually still be positive because your symptoms are still, it's not, it hasn't grown in you enough to where you're symptomatic, or, it's actually enough viral load in you to, to show up on a test. So we'll see. Auntie Eva says, if you're positive, the rapid gives almost immediate indication. DGL 620 says, one day I'm going to pop my lips, be brave, and click the link. Come on, sis. Push the button. Crystal Howard Gil says, what a waste of a good black man. Well, girl, it ain't a waste. If it doesn't work out for Mirla, I guarantee you that brother's DMs, inboxes will be overflooded. Even if it works out with her, it's going to be going down in the DMs, because there are plenty of women who would want this man. One thing I'm going to say, y'all, why are people so crazy? Like, why do people get so into these shows? One of the groups that I'm on, well, that I was in, because I deleted myself from the group, on Facebook, about this show, somebody basically doxed this man, because I'm sorry, the only name I've seen for him is Gil. If you have gone and looked up his full name, you got an issue. But not only did the person look up his full name, they Googled him, since he's a firefighter, and got his whole salary and posted it in the group to basically, I guess, give another reason of why him and Mirla weren't a good match. But most people know that firefighters, particularly in the South, I know the ones in California, because they're fighting wildfires and all of that stuff, I think their incomes are a bit better. But civil servants in the South, particularly firefighters and police officers, don't get the best salaries. Enlightened Hugh says, I might end up being Gil. Sugar Mama, yes. MJ says it's full now. People love him. He is handsome. Bree Denise says, I saw it too, plez. OMG, girl, I had to get out of that group because I made a comment and I said, you can really see how people have no life. Like, even if this is public record, this is disgusting. Why would you do this? And I actually got deemed in the group, reprimanded from one of the administrators, saying that I violated a group's rules, which was don't talk bad or offend other group members. I'm like, that was offensive because I said they didn't have a life. They don't have a life. You don't have a life if you are sitting around on the internet Googling random people's salaries, particularly random people on television shows. Now, if you were about to go date him, that's one thing. And this was a man who posted this. So I assume he wasn't trying to get with Gil. Maybe he was. I don't know. But there was no reason to post that man's salary other than trying to degrade him. And for me, you can never degrade someone who, there are people, believe it or not, who choose to be in helping professions and don't care about the salary. He made a decent salary for a single man without children. Was it necessarily the highest salary? No. But again, if she's so high class, if she makes six figures, then, he's bringing something to the table. It's not like the man is sitting around in his drawers playing on PlayStation every night. So it just really, since I've been commenting on shows and being more active on Facebook and on YouTube and being really active on Instagram, it has really opened my eyes to how people are with some of these shows. I'm always in awe because I watch the show. That's it. I don't really care for spoilers because I want to watch the show play out. I like what's going on all the other circus, all the, when I watch Real Housewives, I don't go and see after the show who gets into it on Twitter. I might see it if it makes news to where it's in like the Jasmine brand or Shade Room, but I don't actively seek that stuff out. I love Kenya Moore. I don't follow her on social media. I like Woody and Amani from the New Orleans cast of this show. I don't follow them on social media. So it's just interesting to me the lengths that people go through to look these people up and basically stalk them. Like, how dare you? And so, yeah, those people told me I couldn't comment for a week because I said that person had no life. So I politely left the group and moved on about my business because I don't want to be affiliated with someone or something that is going that far. Like, that's just too far. Know the whole man's government name and his salary. Horrible. Yvette says that's not fair on Gil. It's not as if he was pretending to be a millionaire or everything. Yes. Bright says, I think it offended her when he said he didn't care about money. It shouldn't. Everybody doesn't care about money. I have walked away from plenty of situations that had lots of money attached to it. Money is not everything. Bree Denise says salaries are negotiable and you have to consider years of service. Yes. Bosandi, says that was too far. I agree. These people. Love my dogs too says those types of folks really need to get a life. Sharon Redmond says Gil could have a hella portfolio he hasn't missed. DGF 627 says the altruistic types are usually not compensated appropriately, including teachers. Not at all. D says saying get a life is just a saying. Wow, people are really getting sensitive. But what's so crazy was I think the group was called like Married at First Sight Uncensored. So it wasn't too far that they posted this man's whole salary and full name. But it was too far that I said it's obvious that you don't have a life that you went that far to search this up, and it's disgusting. I got censored in the uncensored group because I allegedly insulted. That was considered an insult to the poster. And I made it personal. Like, these people on this show aren't real people. Like, I understand when you get on a show like this, you do become somewhat of a public figure and you open yourself up to outside speculation. But for me, that was too far. I have a bottom to my petty. That was the bottom. Like I said, how did you even know his name? I have not seen anywhere on the show where they have given this man's full name. His real name I was like, how did they get Gil out of this? But I guess that's just his nickname. But his full name is not Gil. And so it just, ugh. Sharon Redmond says she doesn't care about money either. She gets rid of it with the quickness. Enlightened Hugh says they should have matched her with Jose. Valencia Ross, plez support. Thank you for the support, sis. Basandi says, I thought they said his last name on the show, but all the other stuff is just too much. Oh, okay. Full name. Yeah, they did say his full name, but I guess if you know enough Spanish, when they said his full name, how it's spelled, I didn't get that from how they said it. Spanish is not my first language. So whatever. Y'all, it's too much. Crystal Howard says the question is, who posted his info? Girl, it was some lonely man in the group. And then when people were calling him out on it, he kept saying, well, it's public record. It's public record. You know, nothing's wrong with this. He's on the show and it's public record. It doesn't matter if it's public record. Yes, if you work for the government, particularly in certain states, it is public record. But you should not seek it out. Love my dogs too. Thank you so much for the super chat. Great live plays. Thanks. Thank you for being here and engaging. Francois. Hey, plez. Sorry I'm late. Just got home from work. Hey, chat room. Happy Saturday. No problem, Francois. You can always catch the replay. Star says somebody posted Gil's salary. Yeah, girl, this Facebook group that I'm in about the show. Well, I'm not in anymore. I removed myself. I left the group. But yes, they posted his whole salary, what his salary was, I guess, like last year. And then I guess he got a raise or a bump up. And so what it is this year. But yeah, it was disgusting. All right, y'all. That is it. Those are my thoughts. Thank you for giving me your thoughts. If you are catching the replay, please make sure you like this video. Y'all, before you leave the chat, make sure you like the video. Make sure you comment on the video. Make sure you subscribe to Scared of Beautiful. Subscribe to the channel. Join the Beauty and Beau community. I love y'all. I will be back next week. Excuse me, not next week. I will be back tomorrow with the grab bag, where we will talk about all things on some other reality shows that I really like. We will also talk about a couple of hot topics. I think I might want to talk about one or two things, but I'll see what all I have planned for tomorrow. So I hope y'all have a great weekend, a beautiful Saturday. Get you a good Sunday self-care in. If you don't get it today, do something for yourself. Y'all know what I'm always telling you. Choose you for you. Make sure you take care of you, because no one else is going to do it for you. All right. I love y'all. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.